And we welcome you back here on this Monday. Really looking forward to our weekly segment with Coach Brian Kelly of LSU. And Coach, thank you very much for joining us. And the whole nation was watching. I was watching on a plane, and I could barely breathe. I cannot imagine what it was like to coach that fourth quarter. But you have done this a few times. But tell us about it. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Paul. Listen, life on the road in the SEC, it's tough, right? Credit to South Carolina, their fan base. The stadium was electric. It was college game day. It was everything that you would expect in the SEC and more. And we then spotted them 17 points. So we made it as difficult as you could, and still kept fighting, showed great fight resilience, and found a way to win the football game at the end. So proud of our guys, proud of the way they hung in there and outscored our opponent 36-16, and after being down 17-0 is pretty amazing.
Coach, we're literally only 3 games into the season as we watch what turned out to be the winning touchdown there, and as well as the final kick. As you're watching a kick like this, there's nothing you can do.
Right.
Take us through what's going through your mind at that point?
We're talking about what side do we want? Do we want the student section side? Do we want to go the other way relative to overtime? Really, just preparing for overtime in that situation, because you're right. You're expecting them to probably make the kick. And if they don't, well, then you get a chance to celebrate like we did. But yeah, just preparations for overtime is really the conversations that you're having at that time.
Coach, we're only 3 games into the season. You've already had 2 games that literally came down to just about the last play. I know cliches abound here for situations like this, but as you get ready now and are getting ready for your next game at home against UCLA, what is the takeaway from escaping something like this where so many mistakes were really made? Everybody made mistakes. You survived them, though, and you won the game.
Well, that you can't live like this. I mean, you don't get many chances to come back from a 17-0 deficit on the road against a really good football team. Everybody can have their opinions about South Carolina. I was there. I watched them play. I saw their talent on defense in particular. It's real. They're physical. They're veteran players. So you can't live like this. So number one, we've got to make sure we've got the right personnel on the field. Number two, we've got to make sure that we've got the right schemes in place. And number three, we've got to continue to prepare so we can eliminate the mistakes that have cost us. Obviously it put us in these kinds of positions, right? We had a chance to win the USC game with 8 minutes to go in the game, and we weren't able to close out because of mistakes. And this one, we started poorly. So we can't live like this. We've got to clean these things up moving forward against UCLA.
Afterwards, naturally, great celebration and also great emotion, which I think we're about to see here.
Guys, keep playing. Anyone else I love? Freshman running backs. Okay. Hey, at the end of the day, hey, it's the SEC. You got to break some tackles.
I know you turned the page now. You have to turn the page, but that ride home had to be pretty sweet.
It was a lot better than the alternative, that's for sure. And look, I mean, Caden got the opportunity. He's a freshman. He got the benefit of what was happening in there. They were cutting off our ability to climb to the second level, and we couldn't get to one of the linebackers. He was a good study on the sideline. He paid attention, and when he got his opportunity, he was able to do the things that we were asking the backs to do, and he was able to bounce it outside, picked up some big runs for us, broke some tackles, as I mentioned in that clip. it's the SEC. You can't block everybody every down, and sometimes you got to make somebody miss. And he had that ability to make a couple of guys miss and run through some tackles. So good for him. It's going to help his confidence. It's going to help him continue to grow. But as you know, Paul, it's 1 week, right? We move on to the next week, and it'll be a chance for somebody else to step up.
So let's turn the page. UCLA, a home game at 2:30 in the afternoon. I know there's a sense of relief, but there's also a sense that there's no time to look backwards. What's it been like so far as you get ready for the next game?
Well, again, as I mentioned to you before, it's great to have resilience. It's great to have a team that is going to fight, but that can't be the way that this football team continues to build its identity. That would be one piece that you would love to have, but it's got to be a higher level of execution. We can't give up the big plays on defense. We know we're starting to see more turnovers, and we're getting after the quarterback. We can't continue to stall inside the 10-yard line. We had 2 opportunities where we came up with no points inside the 15-yard line. That can't continue to happen. That's happened 3 times this year, leaving way too many points on the field and taking care of the football. And Garrett understands that. So those things have to be better. And that's about us more so than it is, the opponent in UCLA. We have great respect for the Big Ten, another Big Ten opponent that we have to play this year. But again, playing at home gives us a chance to correct a lot of these mistakes as we continue to come together as a football team.
Coach, I think when you lose a game and you talk about correcting mistakes, fans and the media and we all kind of go glassy-eyed. But when you win, explain how, not easy, I'm sure, but how do you start to make sure you're not in that situation again week after week?
Well, I think like most coaches, Paul, I mean, I think we're all harder on our team and ourselves after a win than a loss. Like, I think, you got to be careful after a loss, right? You got to make sure that, you're keeping the confidence of your group. You're making sure that, you don't take away, their feeling that they can be successful. But in this instance, you can really, drill down on some of the things. Pre-snap penalties have to be eliminated. We can really, have our players understand how they need to be accountable in practice if there's a pre-snap penalty. So I think it can be harder on your group after a win, even though it was a close win. We can be harder on those guys in terms of their preparation.
You've had the games like, I mean, everybody has games like this, but I remember that Missouri game last year, which
Yeah.
it seemed like, I know it wasn't a carbon copy, but it from a standpoint of being behind, coming back, and an insane final quarter. As far as learning from it, exploring it, doing better, you mentioned Garrett. I'm really curious because so many people have been so high on him. Just how would you evaluate your quarterback's matriculation so far and where he is with the 4th game of the season ahead?
Well, I'm pleased with a lot of things that he's doing, but what he's done is he's changed the bar, right? He has now put that bar really high because he's done so many good things. So now we can start talking about elevating where he is, and so we see that he's got elite arm talent. He's got the ability to do so many things. Now we have to get him to be an elite quarterback. It's not just about arm talent. It's not about I can fit it in anywhere and throw it anywhere at any time. We've got to be able to do everything in terms of getting us in the right play, making the right decisions, sometimes taking a sack. Zero's okay. 0 as a play is okay. And I think just getting that knowledge and being more comfortable with that not every single play has to be a splash play. And that's the development of a quarterback. And he's getting there. And those are the things we'll continue to work on.
Well, Coach, I know it's back to work. We really appreciate it. And I know LSU fans very happy to get out of Columbia and look ahead to a couple of home games before the bye week. Thank you, Coach. We will see you very soon.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate you having me on.
You bet. Brian Kelly joining us here on this Monday afternoon after a near miss in South Carolina.